Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another unboxing of the offline product game review. This is White Day, a Labyrinth themed school for the PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here just says it's based on the version of the games, and the on-disc version is 1.0. Now sadly there was an update available. This update size was 200 megabytes big and will take you to version 1.01 since the time of this video. And as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account, which is extremely nice. Now I cannot claim my experience was completely flawless. I did have some hiccups and issues playing completely offline without the update, but I still beat the game, and as well as I got the secret ending. And as well as an extra bonus, this does include 30 plus costume DLCs all on disc. Now this does not come with every single costume DLC that ever came out, as some of the costumes were like tie-in costumes that involved another game. It was a fighting game called Blaze Blue, and those costumes are not on the disc. So that's a little disappointing, but at least all the main ones that involves the game are all on the disc. So I mean, that's extremely nice. It's nice to have a complete package. That's why I do strongly believe that though the game claims it's the base vanilla version, this is clearly a more updated version because it's got all the extra content on disc. And I have heard the PS4 version was pretty buggy. Now, I've never played the PS4 version. I cannot claim if that's true or how the experience is. But, as I said, I did have some issues, but I did complete the game. Now, there were, as I said, some issues. There was a text bug at the main menu of the game where some of the lettering and stuff like that was all distorted and broken apart. All I did was I backed out and clicked into it and it fixed itself. Or some segments like the ghost stories, the stories involving the ghosts was all broken up letters and stuff like that. I just backed out and clicked on it again and it fixed itself. So there was that. As well as I did have the janitor that roams around. There's two of them. The first one really didn't have any issues. The second one bugged out a lot where he got stuck on environments and sometimes just got stuck on nothing and he just kept walking in place. Now this generally wasn't an issue most of the time, but sometimes he got stuck right in the middle of a hallway or right up a staircase and just completely blocked the path, and there was no way to progress unless I let him catch me and I had to run from him. So that was extremely annoying. As well as that in the second building with the second janitor that got stuck everywhere, if he is causing you issues, this is a bug, but we'll call it a feature. There's an area called the music room in the new building with the second janitor. If you go ahead and go into that room and let the ghost kill you, and the game will just reload from its autosave, it despawns the janitor. So that's really helpful in case that janitor is giving you issues or keeps on getting stuck. That's a very helpful way to get rid of them so you can finish exploring the new building without having to deal with them. Now, please keep in mind, rise a new cutscene happens or some event happens, then it fixes that bug. But you can just go down to the music room again and get killed, and it despawns them again. So it was as much as that's a bug and it's a problem, it was a feature to avoid that. As well as that, I did have a walking bug with the secret character you get to play as, Eun-mi. She had a walk bug where she was floating across. She didn't have no walking animation, and anytime I was trying to sneak and crawl, she kind of did this bobble up and down, up and down. It was kind of nauseous and very just disorienting when you do it for a long time. So that was a bug. I don't know how consistent or that was just a random event for me, but that is an issue. And now this last bit here is not a bug, but it is an issue. There is a puzzle in the game that's pretty much impossible to solve unless you know Korean, Chinese, or Japanese to some extent. As the way to solve it, there's a Korean written on a chalkboard, and you have to deduce what that puzzle is trying to tell you. And as I said, if you don't know those languages, you will have an issue solving it. Sadly, there is no way to figure out how to decipher that Korean on the chalkboard in the game, so the only way you're going to be able to solve it is through going online and figuring out the codes, what they need to do. And the codes are random, so it's random every time you start it up. So I will just go ahead and put the codes down in the description if you pick up this game, so that way if you watch this video, you can know where to go to get the codes to be able to progress through the game, because it's impossible. I went online to try to figure out what was going on, and it saved me a lot of time. I wish it could have saved me a lot of time because I wasted a lot of time thinking I could solve it. But that's the only puzzle in the game that's apparently impossible to solve if you do not know Korean, Chinese, or Japanese. So again, that's very disappointing. I do not know why they didn't fix that, especially with this PS5 release or some form of an update to add some kind of decipher code or something like that. But regardless, disappointing. But the rest of the game, I did solve pretty much all the puzzles by myself, and they were all generally pretty good. And the game is actually fairly good. You play as a character called He-Man Ling. I may be getting that name wrong. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And basically, you are picked up a diary that some girl that dropped it, and you're coming back to the school to try to give it to her. And apparently, it is also White Day, so you want to give her a gift, a box of chocolates. So when you come to the school, things are not as they seem, and you find out you're locked in the school, and the school is haunted. Now, throughout the game, you'll meet other characters, and how you interact with those characters will change the story and the ending outcome you get. So, that can be a little annoying at points, because if you just mess up one dialogue section, you won't get a certain ending. Now, please keep in mind, if you want to get the secret ending, you have to get a specific ending in the game. I think it's 3 of them that you have to get, and once you get one of those, you unlock the ability to get the secret ending. Then you have to look around for doodles on the wall and do specific steps to be able to play as the newer character that will give you the secret ending. Very convoluted. I wish it wasn't that pain of a butt to get the secret ending in the game, but you may definitely going to need a walkthrough to figure that one out. But hey, that wasn't in the original game, which I do need to point that out, that White Day is actually a remake of an older classic game that came back out like in 2000, and though I never played it, I remember watching a YouTuber play it a long time ago, so it was really fun to come back and play through the game, and generally the game does work and plays relatively well, relatively smoothly as well. The only really issues is the janitor. They're not really interesting, and eventually they just become cumbersome and annoying. As I said, they get stuck. Sometimes they just linger around for so long in specific areas that it takes forever to make any progress in the game because you're trying to avoid the janitors. Now, at the beginning, this is a really hassle, but once you start learning how they work, you can pretty much get away from them pretty easily and figure out how to bob and weave and get around the school, but you shouldn't have to do all these trickeries just to get through the game, because it kind of breaks the immersion that you're just constantly, purposely getting yourself caught so you can progress. The problem is the janitors don't really provide anything to the game, and they're barely even really talked about in narrative-wise. They're just there to be an annoyance, where the game should be about the ghosts and the horror and everything like that, which they do really well. The ghosts and the horror and some of the boss fights with the ghosts are done really well. As funny as it is, this remake of a classic game really just needs another remake to focus on what really matters. And that's why it's a big subject about how authentic should a remake be of a game, when you could probably take the time to fix some issues to make that experience even better. Or maybe, as you can maybe argue, that's what a sequel is for, which for the most part you're right. I have heard there is a sequel to White Day 2, but I don't know anything about it. I just know that it exists. But overall, I did enjoy this game. I thought it was a very interesting game. I didn't 100% complete it. I didn't get like every kind of ending and unlock every single thing and find every secret. And I didn't even find all the ghosts. And apparently many of them are hidden around the school and can only be triggered with specific things. Again, there's a pack of content, but it can have some issues and problems with your experience. I do think it's an interesting game to get on your shelf. With it being also a more updated version, with this PS5 version, with all the DLC on the disc, there is some value and some neatness to collecting this PS5 dedicated version for your collection, in my personal opinion. So, like always, I will try to provide links down in the description if you're into a copy. In my opinion, if you're into horror and you like to see a different kind of take and twist in terms of being like a Korean game and the idea around it and just certain aspects of the game, I think it's well worth a look. I won't go out of your way to get a copy because, as I said, there's issues and there's progression problems, like with the janitor and the chalkboard puzzle. But in the end, I think it's rather enjoyable, and I'm kind of glad I did go through it and got all the endings, or the endings allowed me to get the secret ending, and it was rather enjoyable, the story, the narrative, and stuff like that. I won't go into detail since that's spoilers, but overall, there is something here. It's a kind of a gem, hidden gem. I think this remake could use another remake and focus on what really matters, the ghosts, the school, and the environments, and the spooky factors, and just certain other elements that could use improvements, because mechanically sometimes it could be a little clunky and issues, but overall, I did enjoy myself, and this is definitely one of those hidden little horror gems you can get on your shelf. So like always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!